Liberty, do you have some little background music that you can hum for us? I can't hear that.
Oh, well, that's the choral, the oohs and the ahs from Like a Prayer, this sort of heavenly.
Oh, come on, Liberty. Let the choir sing.
No, it's got to be elevator while we wait. It's got to be very.
I see. Do 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 do. Yeah, exactly.
Madonna forever. Madonna forever. Madonna forever. Madonna forever.
You're listening to MLVC, the Madonna podcast, your place for all things Madonna, Louise, Veronica, Ciccone. Good evening, everybody. It's Liberty.
Hey, guys, it's Tony. Life is a mystery.
Well, it might be a mystery, but that movie wasn't. Hey, everybody, it's Ben.
Hey, everybody, it's Stefan. Welcome to another episode of MLVC. We will get to the topic of the night, Madonna, Deadpool, and Wolverine, a little later in the episode. But before we do, we keep getting messages from people asking us, why aren't you putting out more episodes this summer? And well, the truth is, we're just trying to enjoy summertime as much as we can, people, because life is short. And thankfully, Madonna isn't on tour at the moment, so we don't have to be going live all the time. But I did want to do a little check-in and see how everyone's summer's going, so since we last chatted, Ben and I got to Kiki in person in Philadelphia, and that was fun. And then Liberty was on a vacation, and Tony's uprooted and moved out west again. So I wanted to do our little round robin, and in one word, describe how your summer is going so far. We're going to start with Tony, because you've had the biggest life change. What's a word to describe your summer?
I feel awake now, you know? Yeah, because, I was like kind of working two jobs and kind of just getting through it. And then I move out west and I was like, oh, I feel awake. I feel ready and I feel refreshed, and the past is behind me, and here we go.
Well, nothing takes the past away like the future. So
Good one.
I was ready to jump, and that's what I did.
We're on tonight, kids.
Stefan, as you know, there's only so much you can learn in New York. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And if you can't take the heat, then get off your street. So, exactly. Tony, I got to say, San Francisco is doing that lighting's looking pretty damn good. We all need that filter or whatever.
Yeah, it's not a filter. It's actually like right behind the screen. There is an open window, and it's I love the California sun is agrees with me. So yes, I'm very, very happy to be here.
Ben, how about you? What's a word to describe your summer so far?
Tired.
You've been writing a lot, though. You've had a lot of poetry stuff.
I have had things published, and I have a bunch of stuff coming up, and I'm working on. I have the pile of papers right here.
He's holding up a large stack of script.
Manuscript.
It almost looks like a Madonna script for a biopic.
Well, it's probably more pages. I'm trying to finish going through that proof for the second time, but work is crazy. I told you about the big project I'm on where I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm not used to working that much. Oh God, I hope nobody from work is watching this. But yeah, and I'm reading manuscripts for a couple other people, so it's very reading intensive right now. But so I'm just tired. But it was fun to see you in person. I
know it was, even though it was rainy and effing hot, but we got
it was hot. Oh my God.
We had some good fun, and I finally got to meet your husband. So
yes, you did. Oh my God. And that pastry place that we went to,
so good, right? It was this Brazilian bakehouse that we have in South Philadelphia, and we were passing. I was walking Ben and his husband around the neighborhood. I was like, "Oh, and here's the Brazilian bakehouse," and I was like, "We have to go in." And so they bought copious amounts of pastries, and I sent them on their way.
Oh,
Yes,
so
the
good.
corn thing was weird, and I didn't like it though. That was the only thing I didn't like. But
It
the
was
rest of it was
like a
delicious.
cornbread, orange.
Yeah.
Don't short sell it. It was cornbread, not just corn. But
Okay, I don't remember. And then we were back down to your side of town. We were trying to find the Walt Whitman statue that used to be like a monument to him that was built like probably 100 years ago, and now it's in the middle of a double interchange off the interstate. So like you're on a city street and the monument is like way over there, it looks teeny tiny, but it clearly used to be a park, and now it's just like interstate loops all around it. And Walt Whitman's just out there by himself, like lost.
That is like totally the antithetical placement for a Walt Whitman statue, but okay.
He deserves better as a queer icon, you know?
I feel like the city needs to move it, because where it is very close to where he last lived across the river in Camden. Like the river's just right there. But they clearly had the statue, put it in the park, and then built the interstates like probably 40, 50 years later. And yeah.
Didn't you get shooed away by the police? Where were you?
Oh my God. I went to that cemetery over in Camden.
Which I told you to be very quick about that, because Camden is like...
Yeah, I mean...
It's a little rough.
Sure. But the weird thing was I pull into the cemetery and the road was blocked in the one direction. So I finally navigate like back and forth to the crypt, and I'm about to get out, and a cop comes up behind me, a Camden police officer, and like waves me on. And I'm like, why are you not letting me get out in the cemetery? I just want to walk over and like...
He's like, I'm trying to recreate the scene from Truth or Dare. I'm a host of a Madonna podcast, officer. Let me do this.
But so then I get back in my car and I drive back to like the main building, and there's like these little parking spaces, and I park, and one of the worker people's like, you can't park there. And the cop circles back around and gives me a dirty look. And I'm like, what is going on? Like what? And then I realize like there's all these cameras at the entrance, and I'm driving out of state plates. And I mean, I looked like a hot mess. Like I was in like a ripped up tank top, and my hair was all 10 different ways from Sunday. I'm like, oh, they think I'm here to buy drugs. And so I just left. Like that was the end of that. So
well, and so Liberty, what word would you use to describe your summer so far?
I'm going to choose the word go, because I don't want to use the word gone just yet, because it almost is.
Did you enjoy your European vacation?
My European vacation was lovely, darling.
It looked gorgeous, especially when you were in France. I loved it.
It was very quick. I was only there pretty much exactly a week. And
you were just visiting venues that Madonna had performed at, right? That was the vacation?
I was chasing Taylor around Germany. No.
oh, wow.
No. Well, actually, that's just as a side note. There's now a direct flight from San Antonio to Frankfurt. So I didn't have to change planes or anything. That was excellent. But because Taylor was in Germany this week, the plane was full of Swifties.
Oh, dear. Was it like a Taylor Swift sing-along? Like you were doing like Shake It Off?
I was sat next to a 7-year-old on the way home, and I thought maybe it would happen, but she found some other song to sing at a crazy loud volume while everybody was asleep. So that was
God bless
joy.
her.
Yeah, but no, it was a good time, and too fast. I didn't, but I was excited because I didn't think I was going to get to go. I was just there visiting family, and at a wedding in France, which I'd never been to a wedding in France.
Ooh la la.
It was really interesting.
Well, and thank you for bringing the Madonna side part with you.
I had to.
Your hair.
Yes.
Liberty's got a nice little side part hairstyle a la Madonna. So
yeah, she's warming me up to the side part again, because I usually I'm a middle part girl normally, but
yeah, it's your Chanelta, your ode to Chanelta.
That's right.
So.
Yes. Now.
Yeah, exactly. I will say my word to describe summer is active. Other than that, because I feel like summer just is flying by, and I'm doing stuff, and I'm like, when am I gonna like chill out on a beach? and that hasn't quite happened yet. So we're working on that. But so there are plenty of goings on in the Madonna-verse.
Yes, that means she'll take us there. I didn't sing it. I totally did not catch the cue.
Missed
You
the
know
cue
she'll
again.
take. Listen, Linda. He didn't tell us in advance.
Oh, come
To
on.
be fair.
Even Ben knows that's the cue at this point.
Yeah.
Even Ben was going to sing it. He was waiting for you to sing it. He was
Oh,
like,
I put that, but no.
well, go ahead, Liberty. You know, it's since Like a Prayer is such a huge, it's having another moment again.
It's the song of the hour.
Give it to us.
You know she'll take us there.
That's right. Don't just stand there. Let's get to it. It's time for a little This Week in Ciccone.
See, I get what I want.
So, Madonna, we're going back a little bit before we get up to speed, but Madonna's officially back to work on her biopic, even though we already knew that's what she was going to be doing after the tour finished. The interesting part is the working title on the script that she showed us on Instagram is now Who's That Girl? But I think she's just trolling us because I cannot imagine she would name the biopic an identical title to a movie she's already done. What do we all think? Liberty.
Okay, so this is my little thought, and the only reason that I'm saying this is because I just happened to be scrolling today and saw an interview where I think it was Brian Gumble or somebody equally as dumb asks her, you know, why Who's That Girl was so bad. Basically that was one of the worst movies, and she is of the opinion as well that it was a terrible movie and she was directed terribly, or she thought she didn't do well in the film, her performance. So maybe she's like trying to own the title again in a way. And if the film comes out as Who's That Girl, it sort of flips the
Sure.
It flips the
she's
sort
trying
of,
to make lemonade out of lemons, basically.
right. I don't know. Otherwise, I like the title. In fact, my now defunct Madonna podcast that I started in 2017. I called it Who's That Girl?
You were a trailblazer, Liberty. Like seriously, yeah. I think you were like the first. I mean, you only did 2 episodes, but still, I think you were the first Madonna podcast that ever existed. So
yeah, I tried.
Kudos to you, and look how it turned out.
Yeah, I mean, there was room in the space. I thought, let's try Madonna's show. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's what I think. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Tony, what do you think that she would do that?
My question is she writing something from scratch, or is she, because she owns the work that Diablo Cody and I forget the other woman's name. Erin Cressida Wilson, is that her name?
Yeah.
So I don't know if it interpolates both of those works with what she's writing now. I don't know how that works, but it feels like a working title. I hope so. I mean, I don't know. I think Who's That Girl stands on its own as an album, as a tour, as a movie. Yeah. I mean, it evokes that for us, you know? Yep.
Ben, what do you think?
Oh, I think that was someone's editorial note. Who's that girl? Question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark. Start over, honey.
Is it true the songs come back like in the charts? Like I read that maybe. I wish that
coming on the dance chart, right?
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, Who's That Girl?
Released.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they re-released the single, and when I heard it, I'd forgotten why it wasn't one of the ones I remembered, because they were really trying to do like a freestyle moment, right?
Totally. I when I heard that, I was like, oh, I don't remember this at all. And I thought it was a strange world for them to put something that's very sort of like Spanish sounding in like, and plunking it into like freestyle. I was like, this isn't Lil Susie. This isn't Johnny O and Coro or Cynthia. You know, I was like, what are they trying to do here? It was very weird.
I was like Madonna meets the cover girls, you know?
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. I always think it's weird. Some of the remixes that they had, like, they're not remixes really. They're like, it wasn't even like it didn't even sound like Who's That Girl? It was, I don't know. It was strange. I don't know. I think she's trolling us. I think it's, I mean, we all remember when she did that whole handwriting thing and she put Rescue Me down as like songs she was going to sing at the Celebration tour. Lies. All lies. So I think she's just like, she wants to like bait and switch, like, so it'll be a surprise when the movie comes out, But I mean, look, it's a cute working title because I think it works, but I can't imagine that she would ever do that because because then when people like would go typing in like in the internet, like Madonna, who's that girl? Nikki Finn would be popping up all over the place, unless she's trying to like stamp down Nikki Finn, which I would be like, Madonna, you do not need to do that. Yeah.
I mean, maybe she just did it to get people to Google that, so it would lead them to the song, the re-release, and get it.
That's a possibility as well.
Yeah.
But then again, we got a Celebration tour a decade after an album called Celebration was released. So
okay, good point.
Yeah. But I mean, little does Madonna know, this podcast is never going to let her live down "Who's That Girl" 1987. So
no.
Good luck trying, Madonna. Ain't gonna happen.
Good luck.
Yeah.
I think we should copyright some of the stuff in the sequel script draft that we have so far.
I do think we need another installment of Who's That Girl 2, Nikki's Revenge. I really do think we need to bring that back.
I mean, especially Stefan, we know it's like on your mind. I mean, you look at the Olympic symbol and the first thing you think of is Nikki Finn.
I know.
Yep.
Seriously, it was like everyone was talking about the Olympics, and I hadn't seen it in a while. And at the moment I saw that, I was like, well, this looks like Nikki Finn cartoon version. And so I had to post that because I was like, is anyone else seeing this except for me? And some people are like, yeah, you're the only one seeing this, Evan. I was like, well, sorry.
And then the other thing too is that people, of course, especially the far right, they were just freaking out about that Last Supper tableau. And I'm like,
my God.
I'm sorry, didn't Madonna do that in Rebel Heart?
Yeah, don't it taste like holy water? I mean, come on.
Yeah. I was like, we did that already, so y'all can freak out about this one.
Well, just want. For a moment, I don't want. We don't need to talk religion, but it's Madonna podcast or whatever. But it's like. Aren't there other issues going on in the Olympics that we should be focusing on and not drag queens doing a Bacchanalia tribute? I mean, there's like serious like issues happening behind the scenes at the Olympics that like Christians should really be focusing on. Like,
especially when Madonna's done it already.
Yeah. Well, and I was just going to say, I'm like, it reminds me so much of, there's that one clip of a woman in 1989 when the Like a Prayer album came out and the video was on MTV. And she says, as Christians, there are so many other important things that we should be paying attention to. And I'm like, exactly. And I saw somebody.
It was the nun. Remember, it was the nun they interviewed.
It's like somebody posted on Twitter. They were like, y'all would have never survived Madonna in the 80s. No. If this is what you're freaking out about. Like, seriously, I was thinking, I'm like, nope, they would never have made it past Like a Prayer or Justify My Love or Erotica. Like, if they were around.
They would have died at Erotica. They'd all just like thrown themselves off the cliff into the ocean.
Yeah, that would have been hellfire, damnation sort of a situation. But honestly, they literally, these folks, they wake up and they're like, well, what can I get angry about today?
Exactly.
What can I, they're not even probably really angry about it, but they know that if they make that sort of, like we should be angry about that people will be like, yeah, pitchfork, I am angry about that.
Well, it's to get clicks, which then they monetize and sell you supplements and also survival gear. It's all about making money. Like, it's so gross.
Well, moving on. Madonna was recently in London, where she was spotted with none other than Confessions on a Dance Floor producer Stuart Price, and also cuddling up in the corner of a restaurant booth with Russell Tovey. So here's two things. One, do we think Stuart and Madonna were talking new music? Hold that thought. And then two, do we think Madonna might cast Russell Tovey as Guy Ritchie in the biopic? Go. Tony's shaking his head. No to what, Tony?
To both. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it doesn't feel like she's working on music. However, she did go see Slave play. Her friend Jeremy O'Harris wrote it, and it's the London premiere of it. When I saw that he is texting her and following her and talking to her, and then suddenly she shows up in London to see a show, I'm thinking, wait, maybe she's trying to get him to work on the script with her.
Oh my God, Jesus.
So, I mean, I don't know. That's what I thought of immediately, but I don't know. I mean, it seemed like she was there for like 2 nights and then she left,
it was like in and out. She was there super quick. I had thought people had rumored that maybe she was getting him to maybe he'll play Basquiat or something. Like, again, I think people are reaching all over the place with things, but
he's not an actor. He's an actual writer, you know?
Yeah. Like Tony, I'd never thought about that she might be trying to convince him. I'm like, I don't know, girl, that might ruin the friendship.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we see how Diablo doesn't want anything to do with her after that. So that must have been a bad experience.
Yeah, I follow him on Instagram, and a few days before London, he was in a church in Italy, and he had a photo of himself in there, and he's like, Madonna just called me while I'm in a church. That's a sign. And then she showed up in London. So I'm like guessing it's like, are they talking about work for her film? Or is she maybe hiring him to do rewrites or look at it, or I mean, I don't know, but that seems to me more possible right now than anything with Stuart Price. I feel like
someone had mentioned that maybe, and this sounds more feasible to me than like Confessions on a Dance Floor too. That maybe because Stuart was doing the audio for the tour, that maybe she was there to like supervise on an audio mix for the tour film, because we know the tour film's coming, but so that seemed more logical to me than like new music. Although, you know me, I'm going to literally, it's like we've been doing the podcast for 6 years. I'll keep on saying it until I broadcast our last episode of this, waiting for new Madonna music.
Yeah. I mean, look, I mean, it could be, look at what happened. She was with The Weeknd, and they took a photo together, and then 2 years later, a song comes out.
So I'm hopeful always. Yeah. That'll be on my gravestone. I'm hopeful.
Ever the Madonna optimist. Yes.
Well, speaking of Broadway, last night Madonna attended the Broadway play "Oh Mary," written by and starring Cole Escola. According to Madonna, we must run to see the show. I have friends in New York who saw it off Broadway and loved it. And resident hairstylist Michelangelo was actually in attendance at last night's show with Madonna and was a scant 5 rows in front of her. He sadly did not have any FaceTime with the Queen. He said he couldn't. He's like, I couldn't turn around and try to see her. Plus, she was very small in the seat. But he did pass by Lola at one point and said hello. So there we go.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I was like, if I had been in the theater and I knew Madonna was 5 rows behind me, I would have been so disruptive. I would have been like, excuse me, I have to go to the bathroom.
So my good I was going to say my good friend Diana and her boyfriend are investors in the show. And I texted her
they must be
morning.
making a pretty penny.
Oh, yeah. No, they're doing really, really well. It just got extended, so congratulations to them. But yeah, I just forwarded her what Madonna posted, and she writes me back in all capital letters, "Oh my God, I am shaking." And she's like, and then like 5 minutes later, she's like, "This is going to be so good for the show." I was like, "Oh yeah, the Madonna effect always comes through." Always.
For sure.
It's a great endorsement, but it's a great show.
I don't know anything. I think it's about Mary Todd Lincoln.
Yeah. So it's like, what if Mary Todd Lincoln starts picking up on the gay vibes her husband's putting out, and then at the same time she keeps pestering everybody who will listen to her idea to put on like a cabaret show,
Okay.
and it's so insane. It's just running in and out of rooms, doors slamming, screaming. I mean, it is so much fun.
Oh well, next time I swing through town, I'll have to see if I can get a cheap ticket. So
yeah, it's extended through November 10th, and I know they have a lottery. So yeah, definitely check it out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, there you go. There you go, everyone. If you're in New York, go see "Oh Mary." I'm surprised it's not called "Hey Mary."
I know, right?
Another social media I spy. Someone noticed that Madonna started following Charlie XCX on Instagram. Could there be a Madonna collaboration coming? You know, that's where I always go with basically anything in life. If Madonna's like, oh, Madonna's at Oh Mary, the Broadway, is she going to do a Broadway song? You know, no, but no, seriously, personally, I would love to see a Madonna collaboration with Charlie XCX. My vote is for Madonna Von Dutch remix because Madonna, the Von Dutch song is like on repeat constantly. It's like my song of the summer. Have we all listened to the Brat album by Charlie XCX? Yes?
Yeah.
Okay. So I wanted to pause for just a second and say, can we talk about the fact that I feel like the Brat album is very influenced by both Madonna's music album and Madonna's MDNA album, and I will use references. So first, just as an overall, some of the music in Charlie's Brat album is very sparse and electronic, which is very similar to the style that Madonna's music album came out. So when it came out, it was like, oh, this sounds very different and interesting. And I sort of feel like there's little elements of that in the Brat album. Most specifically, I want to say, I hear a little bit of Paradise Not For Me out of some of it. Sort of like I'm blanking on the Brat album tracks, but go back and listen to Brat after you hear my spiel about this, and you'll be like, oh, I hear a little bit of music album there. Or there's a song on Brat that I was like, oh my God, this is Best Friend from MDNA. Like there's certain little, and then of course, like the slamming tracks, I was like, oh, there's a little Some Girls here, or there's a little bit of like, I'm Addicted here. So anyway, go back to Brat, or if you've not listened to Brat, listen to Brat and see if you hear a little bit of like music influence, or again, not exact, but like every now and again, there's like little intonations where I'm like, oh, I hear it. There's Madonna.
Yeah, I haven't really, I have to go back in here. I mean, I listen to it, different parts every day, but yeah, I need to like do a deeper dive. But once again, this is like an epic album. It's gonna like stand the test of time. And I also think that this is another one of those instances where Madonna opened that door wide and they ran through, you know. I mean, this could not have happened without her influence. And I, you know, as far as like what you say about a collaboration, it's completely possible. Every week she drops a remix.
Oh my God.
To all her songs. Like she did that one last week or the week before with Robin. And, you know, I mean, they're just like these little, like, it's almost like experimentation, you know. And she remixes these tracks. They don't sound anything like what's on Brat, and I feel like she's open to doing that. And so is Madonna. I mean, look what she did a couple summers ago where she collaborated on remixes with pretty much everybody but us, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be, to me, that would be something like, and I only say this because she started following her on Instagram. Like, to me, that is like, okay, so Charlie XCX is on Madonna's radar now. And what does that mean? There's something behind that. She doesn't, not that she's calculated, but like.
Can I be the realist?
Yes, of course. Thank you.
Probably Lola told her who she was, and that was the first she heard of her. So she followed her on Instagram.
But
however,
though. Go ahead, Tony.
No, I was going to say, I would rather Madonna hitches herself to the Charlie XCX wagon than the Katy Perry wagon that's caught on fire. You know?
Amen.
We are so happy, or should be, that Madonna, the rumor of Madonna on Katy's Woman's World did not come true, because that's the Titanic hitting the iceberg.
Fire.
Like, seriously, it's honestly, Katy, why would you work with Dr. Luke? Like, I don't understand that. You have access to anybody.
It's crazy. She should have led with this other song that's much better. I don't know whose decision this was at the record company that, you know, they thought that they could promote it, and they probably had other ideas. Like, they probably thought other things were going to be happening at the same time. Maybe, I don't know. It's to me, it was from the first listen an absolute like, and no, thank you. But I'm not a big Katy fan anyway. So it's her voice for me. I just don't love it. Charlie, though, I've liked Charlie since 2014. So I
another
first,
Liberty, the early adopter.
yeah, that's, you know me. Yeah, I loved Boom Clap. I just thought it was
Oh
so
yeah,
great.
sure, yeah.
And
Yes.
and I really always thought she sounded just like Gwen Stefani at that time. Stefan was like, "You got to check out Brat," so I did. Of course, also with the Kamala stuff, I'm like, "Who else is Brat? Let's see." So, yeah, so I had to check that out. It's very different from Boom Clap, and I now kind of don't think there's not a Gwen vibe anymore. However, Charlie has written for other people in the past. So I think that there's a possibility that Madonna could, kind of.
I love it. I think it's, I mean, because again, we all know Madonna loves to stay very current and fresh and with what's happening. And that would be a really great collab.
Yeah.
I just think it would be in her wheelhouse and benefit her. So yeah, I'm pulling for, like, she shows up on like a Von Dutch remix or something, but like she did with Dua Lipa when Dua Lipa came out, it was her and Missy and on that remix of Levitating. So
and plus it would be good.
Let's hope it's good this time.
Just better than that. Yeah.
No, I was just gonna say I love that Madonna's experimental when she works with other artists, but I really would love to see her get out of that working with like young rappers and young, hip hop artists, because it's not what her fans want to hear.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And it's been proven because, by the Celebration tour, we weren't saying, but where's the Sway Lee collaboration?
And that's the thing. To me,
no one was asking for that.
In the dance world, there's a giant hole without Madonna. And I know that people get by on, it's, and this isn't maybe the right way to put it, but people sort of get by on others, right? We get by with Kylie, get by with others. But Madonna making dance music it's like the temple, right? And
it's the blueprint.
When she's not in it, it's like, who do I, where's the blueprint for the rest of them? Because she for so long was that. And I don't know, I've never really felt that it was fully genuine, the R&B, and I'm not talking the 94 Bedtime Story version of that.
Like Madam X era,
Yeah, or even just like a little bit inside of Rebel Heart. There's some great songs there, but it just never feels fully Madonna. Mm-hmm. So I would love for a little bit more, because there are songs on Charlie's record that I was just listening to it yesterday, like Talk Talk, and I'm looking at the titles because I'm absolutely terrible at this. But the one that I think you're referring to that you hear, is it like maybe which one was it? Maybe it's like a slower song.
There's a couple. I love so much on the album that it's really, really good.
It's great. Yeah. And listen, I need Madonna to follow Chapel Roan. I don't know what's going on there, but Madonna, Chapel.
Yeah. The kids that are young and don't know Madonna are freaking out about Chapel Roan, and I'm like, she's doing the exact same thing Madonna did. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. I don't think any of the current pop girls are doing anything necessarily future forward, but I think that they're striking the right notes at the right time.
Charlie feels forward to me.
Yeah.
I could, because
it's unusual.
That's the thing. I hear Charlie. The production's great, but I don't think it's anything we haven't heard already, which is why I was thinking it's like Liz, if you put it up against certain stuff that's happening on Madonna's music album, if you put it up against things that she was doing on the MDNA album, I'm like, oh, okay, there's a little bit of similarities. I think it's the way she's organizing the songs is very different and fun and fresh. Of course, like it's not an identical match, but I don't think she's reinvented dance music in any way. But
the similarities are fair. I mean, she writes, produces, and sources the talent that she uses in her work.
I love the production's great. I love it. speaking of Madonna music, the upcoming vinyl reissue of Like a Prayer is coming out because of the anniversary of Like a Prayer. And
Another one? Didn't we just have one? Or
always.
has it been
It's
5
like
years?
yeah.
Well, you know, her team likes to do things a little after the fact. So yes, we celebrated the anniversary of Like a Prayer back in March, but they've just now come out with the vinyl. I guess because there's a shortage of vinyl out there. So times are tough.
And you get a free gift with purchase.
No, that you have to pay for that T-shirt. But so as of airing on the show tonight, the vinyl is already sold out. So if you've slept on the vinyls, you snooze, you lose. But there is a Like a Prayer T-shirt. Ben, did you order that? You said you were going to get that.
I did not order it.
Are you going to?
Probably not, especially because then you posted about you wanted the one where she's
I
praying. I'm like,
know.
oh, I do too.
So it's a beautiful photo that they used from the Herb Ritz cemetery session, but I just want the prayer photo. If any,
Yeah, me too.
people are trying to rip people off on eBay by selling like an old version of that for like $450. And I'm sorry, but I'm not that obsessed. So I will do without it. But if anyone has that picture of Madonna praying on a T-shirt that they want to gift MLVC, we take a large.
It's not the same.
I had one years ago that I bought on some Fugazi site online. It was like, it came from Hong Kong in a tiny little bag, and it was, you know, her face or whatever. And I think I washed it like 5 times, and the thing just came off. But every time I wore it, it was like a big hit, you know. And
Yeah.
I loved wearing it.
So, like, remember a few years ago when all that merch came out on her website for Like a Prayer, and I think you ordered something, Tony. I ordered the black shirt.
5
Is it the
months
same?
to get it?
Yeah. Is it the same
no, I had
shirt?
the long sleeve one with her hair parted down the middle with 2 curls.
But is the black
And-
T-shirt the one that's now come out? Is that the same one that was on years ago?
It's not identical. No, it's
No.
a different. It's a different T-shirt. Yeah, so it's new. It's something new. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's a great picture of her, and she looks beautiful. But it's just whenever I think of Like a Prayer, I just want that praying picture. So
And I wonder if it has the graphic on the back. The other
there's
ones
no
have
view of the back. Like you can't see anything on the back of it. I clicked on the website. So
the
if
other
there
one
is
had
anything, it'll be a surprise.
Yeah. The other one, it said Like a Prayer on the back. It's and then 35 in the middle, and it had that like light thing.
Yeah, Tony, I thought you were still waiting on that sweatshirt.
You know, and once I got it, I was like, I don't even want this anymore.
Yeah.
No, because it did. You know how like some of her merch either fits perfectly or it doesn't fit at all? That was one of the ones that they hadn't thought too much about it.
Well, this is my thing. Like, okay, so I'm seeing people share, you know, the vinyl, you know, is available for pre-order, blah, blah, blah. On Rhino's website, I went there, I did the pre-order, ordered it so that I could for sure have one. 2 days later is when I get the email from Madonna's site. Like and that one was pre-order and get this poster or whatever.
Oh, the poster. That's like a lithograph, right?
Yeah.
I wish that I knew like that was coming, like why things take a little bit longer there. Because now I don't want to order 2 vinyls, which genius if that's what they're trying to do is to make a little, you know, extra, you know, of people buying 2 copies, but I'm not buying more than 1 because overconsumption is a problem. And so, you know, that way other people can have it. But I would have liked to see
lithograph.
I want the poster.
I just think there's no coordination.
It's true.
I think there's one person in the office, and it's like a grad
Madonna.
student. It's a grad student intern, or maybe she's got one of the twins.
Oh,
edit that web page. I'm tired of waiting on them.
David Banda seems to need some food money, so maybe he needs
allegedly.
I feel like Rhino, you know, they signed up years ago for that Warner Brothers deal, you know, that everyone was, you know, theorizing about. And this is part of it. They probably get an email a month ahead and they're like, oh, we have another drop. Send, you know, get your intern to put it on social media and it's going to come out today, you know? Because Rhino's really good about letting us know when singles are online. And,
they're great.
She doesn't do it.
Well, because they've got a team, you know, like I love it. Well, so speaking of Like a Prayer, let's get to the topic of the evening, Madonna and Deadpool and Wolverine. It's the new Ryan Reynolds, Hugh Jackman movie. Yes, Ben, what?
we have had a request in the chat to not have any spoilers. There's a couple of people who are listening, watching tonight who have not seen the movie.
Okay, so
the song is in the movie, period.
Yeah. I was going to say, spoiler alert, if you have not yet seen Deadpool and Wolverine and do not want to know how they use the song in the movie, I'm going to ask that you turn off the episode and come back after you've seen it, because unfortunately, that's what we're talking about tonight. Yeah. So if you haven't seen it, here's your warning. Turn it off. It's okay. We won't.
And don't watch the trailer either.
Yeah, well, so this is your sign. Turn off the episode, come back, and after you've seen the movie, and then you can watch the rest of it. So I'm going to give a little bit of stats about the movie, so you can turn it off, and you won't hear me say anything. But spoiler alert, it's coming. So Ryan Reynolds, Hugh Jackman. The movie premiered a few days ago. The movie is now the biggest R-rated opening weekend for a movie ever, with a box office gross of over $438 million in just 4 days. So
really,
God bless the rampant Deadpool and Wolverine fans.
Well, to be fair, I mean, cinema right now is not like where it's at.
I mean, they're single-handedly rescuing cinema because so many people are attending. I mean, it was. I couldn't believe how many people were filing into the theater in Philadelphia when I was going. I was like, this is a Thursday, and people are seeing, like, people were dressed as Wolverine, dressed as Deadpool. They had sold out of all of the, like, Wolverine popcorn heads that they were given, so they had to, like, give out another. People were complaining because they were, what do you mean there's no more Wolverine? Like, it made me feel good as a Madonna fan when people are like, you host a Madonna podcast? And like, I get that look all the time where like, how there's enough to talk about Madonna. And yet there were people walking around a theater dressed in outfits, and people were arguing with the theater people because they had sold out the Wolverine hats. It's like, oh, see, this makes Madonna fans look completely normal. So.
Right.
Yeah. And not only that, it's like people that maybe she's not on their radar anymore, or maybe she's not on their radar ever. They are a captive audience to that song for the 5+ minutes that it's on the screen.
Yeah. So let's talk again. Spoiler alert. Shut it off, people. If you don't want to hear and I preface this by saying this isn't really a big spoiler alert. You know, like how they use the song in the movie. I'm not wrecking.
We're only talking about that part anyway.
I'm not wrecking the movie for you. But so let's talk about how Like a Prayer is used in the movie. So there's a big fight scene. I'll keep it as spoiler free as possible. There's a big fight scene, and they play Like a Prayer over it while Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman are slicing, dicing, shooting, and killing. So that's it. So that's how they use it. If you've seen the trailer,
this is an outrage. I haven't seen the movie yet.
Thank you, Liberty. If you've seen the trailer, you basically have sort of actually. I feel like how they used it in the trailer was much smarter than how they used it in the movie.
Okay.
Because it just sort of, to me, there was no buildup for why they used that song. I don't feel it amplified, and Ben and Tony have seen the movie as well. Do you feel that it like amplified that scene? Did it make sense for them to use it in that? Like, I just didn't feel it was a clever use of that song. I kept waiting for it to be a bit more like, that it would resonate as to why they were using Like a Prayer, but they could have just plunked any song into that scene. It didn't seem like it had to be Like a Prayer. It could have just been Borderline. It could have been,
I think it had to do. This is kind of spoilering, so it's the scene. It's the second part of it where who they're fighting, and because it is a chorus of a certain name and a certain character, and then the fact that it comes around at the end to what's his face, and then that neutralizes all of them as enemies. Like it almost. The whole scene plays out almost like the Like a Prayer video. There's like all these heavy stakes and deep drama, and then it has this ending, and you're like, "Oh, it's that." Like that was my takeaway.
Tony, what did you think?
It. Yeah.
I mean, I just felt like they could have used any song that was anthemic or iconic. And I think this fully establishes Like a Prayer as like any of those songs that get used over and over again in action films, like Led Zeppelin, like, you know, I mean, what have you, you know, but, you know, we're close to this, you know, so we may not see it like that, but they, you know, I think like Ryan Reynolds as a producer was like, this is iconic and this will make a statement and this will make people pay attention to what's happening in a different way, you know?
Okay. I can see that because I think I'm so attached to the song,
yeah,
you know, and to like what it means in the Madonna verse that to like take it out of context and put it over something else. I guess I was sort of just waiting for it to not
become a Madonna reference. Maybe
I just felt like maybe had there been had Deadpool been maybe like listening to it in the car with Hugh Jackman or something that. Like in the beginning of the movie that maybe like when it comes back for like it just felt like I didn't feel like and they probably couldn't because they didn't know if they were going to get the song. So like I just felt like there should have been a little bit of something more context for why they used it.
Well, there was, as somebody points out in the chat, remember that's not the only time it shows up in the movie. The music plays over that montage of memories when you think the movie's gonna have a certain ending and they're both remembering stuff and the music of Like a Prayer is playing underneath. And so then it's like, oh, okay, well we had sort of like the big drama of like the video and I
mean, I love the second time they use it. So it again, spoiler alert, the song comes back a second time at a very like a penultimate moment of the movie, and that's when I felt like it resonated more. That the fight scene, I felt like it was like it was okay, you know, like. But the second time they used it, where it's mostly just like a chorus of Like a Prayer, I thought that resonated really well. But it was fun because it was like a callback to the earlier time. So again, I'm very happy that she was included in this.
Well, did you watch his interview, Ryan Reynolds' interview on Kelly and whoever the co-host
is?
Go
ahead, tell us about it, Liberty.
Okay,
for those who haven't seen it.
So he says basically that he has been thinking of this song for this film.
Ryan Reynolds.
6 years, yes. And it was a long time coming that it was that he was able to finally meet with Madonna. He was able to get the permission because this is not something that she licenses ever, really. And so he wanted to show her how he wanted to use the music in the film, which she had some notes on. It was her input that guided where or how the song was used. Spoiler alert, I haven't seen the movie. I just saw this interview, but anyways, he said also that she called him, or she had some other notes that she wanted to add at a different time or have some other use for the song. And then I guess he and maybe Hugh called her, or somebody called, he and somebody else called her back. And then instead of saying hello, she's like, "Are you two calling to argue with me?" Which I thought was, that means he really did talk to Madonna. And, so I wonder, you know, was that second use possibly her input? Because he said that she wanted something done later in the movie. So speculation, but perhaps
I assumed her note was because, you know, its original appearance in that extended scene is cut in half. There's the half that starts with the actual song, then there's a pause in the music, and then when the big thing on the bus happens, we get the remix with Nikki solo and a whole bunch of different lyrics. And I felt like that was probably her note, where she was like, "Oh, we'll use it up to this point and then kick it with the remix and the choir when you get to the bus." That seemed very Madonna in the way that was done.
Yeah. I figured her note was definitely how to edit the song to use it, like as opposed to just like picking back up where they left it off. Like it seemed very much like a thing that would be a note that she would use. I just love.
Does this give her any credit on the film? Did you guys see her name in the credits at all? Besides
the song,
for the song.
Yeah, I mean, it pops up, but it's not like they're like, "Thanks, Madonna."
I don't know if she gets like producer credit or something. I mean, Ryan is Ryan the actual producer? I mean, he's a billionaire.
One of. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I love that he had to go to her house and how nervous he was going to her house to show her.
her Madonna?
Yeah, and then I saw all of Blake Lively's posts from that night, and she's like, I didn't get it. She wrote, I didn't get a chance to take a photo with Madonna, but I got to meet her, and she like, it was all capital letters. She's like, Madonna, that's right, Madonna. I got to talk to her, you know, and I think everyone there was like super excited to see her.
So our other resident hairstylist, Jason Lee, happened to be in New York City and was walking by the Wolverine premiere and just like hung out to watch everyone. He did not get to see Madonna because apparently she was like the surprise. So she didn't walk the red carpet with everybody else. But I love that they got a photo with her. And that is hysterical that Ryan Reynolds posted. I forwarded you all. Did you see her comment? Yeah. Ryan Reynolds posted, you know, him and Hugh Jackman, and it was a couple of different pictures in the carousel on his Instagram post, and the picture with her was the fourth picture, and Madonna actually commented on the post saying, "I'm fourth?" ? And I was like, that's hysterical that she's calling him out. Like, she's like, why wasn't I the first picture in the carousel? I was like, that's a total Madonna thing to say. I love that.
Yeah, and she seldom replies to people on Instagram, so I love to see that.
Yeah. So I love that Like a Prayer is in the movie. I love that it's sort of having, and again, I posted this and people were like, no, it's not. But I was like, it's having its running up that hill moment. And people were like, no, it's not. That song was already popular. And blah, blah. I love how you post one little thing and people just want to run to scream about how you're not correct. But I would argue to say that this is as close to a running up that hill moment that from Stranger Things, if you don't know what we're talking about, Stranger Things, the TV show on Netflix, used Running Up That Hill in one of its seasons. And because of that, the Kate Bush song was everywhere and a huge resurgence because all the people that were fans of Running Up the Hill were not around the first time Running Up That Hill was released. And Running Up the Hill did not see big chart top, like it didn't chart very well. And then it did. And it was a huge resurgence for Kate Bush. I was only saying that this is close to that type of moment where Like a Prayer is, but I mean, Like a Prayer has been a huge popular song for decades.
And there are a lot of very young people who maybe have not heard or know anything about this song. And it's easy to forget that as a longtime Madonna fan, that there are people who have maybe never really heard that song, who don't listen to that kind of music, never have, hate the 80s. I mean, who knows any number of reasons. I don't think that if my kids weren't children of a huge, crazy, psycho Madonna fan, they probably would never know about her at all because their friends don't talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, you guys, I was thinking, maybe I'm older than you guys, but I remember like that summer I think it's summer of '86, when Twist and Shout by the Beatles suddenly came back and it was in all these movies.
Because of Ferris, yes.
It was on the radio. And, I had never heard that song before. I'd never heard the Beatles before. And that was for me, while everybody else is like, you don't know the Beatles? I'm like, no, I don't, but I do now. And I love this song. And I went out and bought the single. And, so I'm thinking it's similar to that. To some people, they hear this in a movie and you're like, oh my God, why don't I know this song?
That's an excellent example. I think.
Yeah, that's great. And I think a lot of people are saying, why isn't the song on the soundtrack? Because if you notice, the Deadpool soundtrack does not include Like a Prayer. She wouldn't let him use it. And I thought it was brilliant, because if people want to hear that song, they have to get it from her. They're not.
They have to make a playlist with her song on it.
Yeah,
she did the same thing with This Used to Be My Playground.
Mm-hmm. It's like she wants to own the downloads or the purchases or the streams. And I think that's, that's smart of her. Tony, tell us that fact that you had mentioned about, so Liberty had mentioned about how Like a Prayer was never licensed, but it actually has been.
Yeah, so in 1997, Harmony Korine approached Madonna to use Like a Prayer in his indie film called Gummo, which is a really disturbing film about people living on the fringes of society in the Midwest. I mean, it's basically about white trash. Sorry, but it is. And with some really great costumes designed by Chloe Sevigny, but I digress. They used Like a Prayer in the trailer. I remember seeing it in the theater. I went to see some art house film, and then suddenly Like a Prayer I was like, whoa, this is insane. I'd never saw this coming. I saw the film, and it plays in the background of a scene with no context whatsoever. It just plays. But, for anyone that's seen the film, they know that the movie just trades on weirdness. So there's nothing to theorize about why the song is in the movie. It just is,
That movie was so weird. Wasn't Like a Prayer also in Never Been Kissed? Somebody mentioned that in the chat.
Yes,
and somebody else posted that on Instagram the other day, that it actually was in the Drew Barrymore movie, Never Been Kissed.
Jimmy Fallon in
you're
that?
right. Yes.
No.
He's not.
No. His wife produced it, though.
Never Been Kissed is Michael Vartan, who was then on
Alias.
He was so cute.
I loved Michael Vartan on that show.
But listen, you guys, for me, the bottom line for Like a Prayer being in Deadpool and Wolverine is being in a dark space with really good sound, hearing Madonna's music.
Yeah.
Like going to see the Celebration tour after your first time, and you're like, I just love being in a big room hearing this music, I mean, any opportunity.
It's also really good to have that female voice in a more male space, I think, as far as
totally. I mean, that's the thing I was most happy about, was that an audience that would not be a Madonna audience is going to have to listen to and thankfully, they're going to get exposed to a great song if they've never heard it or don't appreciate it quite the way that we would.
Can you imagine, though, if it did have a Running Up the Hill moment, but instead of Like a Prayer, they had used like Rescue Me or one of those, like a lesser known song that actually did then rise up and become like a huge hit long after the fact.
I would love that.
Right, like one of her songs that never hit number one, and because Like a Prayer has already done that, it's already been. But think about because there's so many of those songs that
Rescue Me.
She was up against she was up against Boys to Men, and they wouldn't let her, or up against Whitney, or up against there were so many times Madonna was battling for the number one spot with some of her singles and just never got there because she was blocked, and you're like, what? This was only number two? How is that possible? So
who blocked Express Yourself from number one? I don't even remember.
Somebody was just talking about that, and I forget, but it was it was that type of thing where Express Yourself was battling to get up to number one, and it didn't because music in the 80s was great. There was a lot of great songs out, at the same time.
Liberty was saying earlier, because they poo-poo it because it's from the 80s. I'm like, but everything that comes out now sounds like 1987. Just I'm enjoying contemporary music more than ever now because I'm like, oh, this sounds like junior high.
Yeah, it's true. No, it does. And a lot of the loops that you look for will also have a very 80s influence. That's good. I mean, I think it's because a lot of the parents who have kids now, we're listening to that all the time.
Well, if you think about it, the kids that are producing music now, I mean, the 80s was 40 years ago. They're looking at that and they're like, this is vintage sounding now.
True. I mean, it's true.
To me, going if you think about listen to Charlie XCX, some of her stuff on Brat. I was like, speaking of freestyle, I was like, oh, this kind of sounds like a bit of freestyle stuff that was happening in on the radio in Philadelphia in 1987. It's not that it's not new, it's just how they're using it. They're sort of reinterpreting that sound, and to kids like my niece's age, it sounds completely new to them.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh my God. So the songs that actually went to number 1 while Express Yourself was at number 2. Are you ready for this?
Yes.
Please go ahead.
Martika with Toy Soldiers, Prince with Bat Dance, Richard Marx with Right Here Waiting, Paula Abdul with Cold Hearted Snake, and Hanging Tough by New Kids on the Block.
Love me some New Kids.
Yeah, the New Kids cock blocked Madonna that summer for sure.
But look at how iconic those songs are. I mean, those are all like, you hear I mean,
Yeah.
you can't do that. Music has changed a lot. There's
Yeah.
not a lot of like, you don't like songs from like 2 years ago. You're like, you don't remember them. They're
No.
not like, they just don't stand the test of time quite the way music used to. Music is very disposable. And
Yeah,
yes,
I
I
heard
know
Right
that
Here
sounds
Waiting-
like something an old person would say. Fine, whatever. It's true.
We're old. Yeah, old person here. I heard Right Here Waiting at Walgreens, and I was like, oh my God, I used to love this song.
Hey, I actually like searched these songs in the recent weeks. Like I want to hear Richard Marx because somehow like because you know how Instagram does where it's like you don't follow the person, but somehow the thing shows up on your thing.
So a suggested post.
Yeah,
No,
and I'm like,
was on
he's
somebody's
alive.
he was on somebody's talk show a couple of weeks ago. I saw a clip where they asked him about when he sang back up for Madonna on White Heat in True Blue.
Oh, right.
And he just said something like, yeah, she was amazing. She came in, she was gorgeous, and I wanted to date her, and she was not dateable at the time. And and I was like, wow, see, they're still talking about her,
Yep.
Yeah.
They could talk his whole career for hours, but they want to talk about the time he worked at Madonna.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, but that's great, Richard. We don't care. Just tell us about Madonna.
Yeah. We know you had a lot of hits in the 80s. Talk about the time you did backup for Madonna.
Yeah. So we know you've got something new going on, but the thing is that we're mostly
Always.
interested.
Yeah. Ben, anything that we need to reply to in the chat before we sign off?
Oh, no. We were just, the chat we're talking about, I forgot Simply Red, If You Don't Know Me By Now, was actually the original blockers of Express Yourself. We did forget that.
I love that
And then
song.
we're having like a whole kiki about Martika, because every time you mention Martika.
I love her
I
too.
told you, Martika says she has got something coming down the pipe. And I'm like, please let it be new music, Martika.
She better hurry because I've been waiting for 35 years.
Yeah, that's been
about
a long wait.
It's about the. I feel like it's about the same amount of time we've been waiting for new Madonna music. I mean,
yeah.
It's been a minute.
Well, everybody, that's our show. Remember, coming up in August, we have our Madonna Summer Movie Series with The Next Best Thing. Not gonna want to miss it.
That was going to be funny. I already know.
Yeah.
Ben's going to have cracking up so
Ben's
bad.
going to have plenty of cocktails to reenact the frothy scene with Rupert Everett and Madonna.
Oh, yeah.
There may be tears.
What were
because
they drinking
I love
in
that
that
movie.
scene, I wonder?
That's your homework tonight, Ben. You can
I
find
will
out
have
what
to figure
they were.
that out.
I think it's just martinis, I think.
Were they
Or
just having like
Cosmos?
No,
something
I think it was
they were
martinis.
clear.
clear.
I bet
Yeah,
they were
clear.
gin
Yeah.
or vodka martinis.
How sad is it that we all know that it was clear liquor in that movie?
Yeah.
Like, you might not remember the plot. I
Plus, there's
remember
an
two things.
iconic,
It was
like,
clear liquor,
sipping scene.
and Benjamin Bratt had a body. That's all I remember.
Yeah.
I love that
Benjamin
movie.
Bratt. I'll save my Benjamin Bratt story for
was
that
it Michael
episode.
Vartan in that movie too?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Yes.
Was he?
Yes.
He's the baby's father.
Oh.
Yeah. And who was the guy that played? Okay, we got to
Save it for next month. Save it for next month. Remember, everybody, you can find us on Instagram, X, and Threads at MLVC Podcast. If you'd like to donate to the show, we're on Venmo at MLVC Podcast or on YouTube. Hit the like button and you can donate that way. Thank you to the donations that we received last month. If you'd like, you can click the. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm reading my script and that's exactly what I just said, so I don't need to say it again. If you've already subscribed or you've not yet subscribed to our YouTube channel, tick that button so you never miss a video. Until next time, everybody, that's life is a mystery. Everyone must stand alone.
When you see her, say a prayer and kiss your heart goodbye.
I got something to say about it.